Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. At the time of the publishing of this video, I will be watching my favorite Christmas Eve film of all time, and that is The Polar Express. I know this one gets a lot of hate, probably from a lot of viewers watching right now, but this, personally, in my opinion, is easily the staple Christmas Eve movie. This is Christmas Eve in a disc. It doesn't get any more Christmassy than this. That's probably a loaded opinion, not gonna lie. But hey, this is my video and this is my channel and this is my opinion, and The Polar Express is absolutely awesome. This is a 5 out of 5 star film for me. There is so much to say about it, but mostly I just love the visuals. Unfortunately, I've never seen this in 3D or IMAX, which is a shame. I didn't watch it a whole lot when it came out, but I do remember it only took like 1 or 2 watches for me to make me absolutely fall in love with this film. And I still do look forward to watching it at some point in IMAX or 3D when I get the chance to. But visually, musically, and thematically, it's just absolutely spectacular. I think Tom Hanks does a fine job portraying the roles of multiple characters. A lot of people also bitch about Robert Zemeckis and his cinematography style, like how he likes to do motion capture and animation in his style. People say it doesn't age well. People say it looks sloppy, it looks weird, it looks creepy, whatever it may look like. And I can see everybody's point. And I will also say that this is my favorite Zemeckis film. Like, this one has such a bigger impact than even like A Christmas Carol, which has a more upgraded special effects style. And Beowulf I didn't even like at all, but The Polar Express is amazing. Going on to the story of it all, basically in a nutshell, it's about this kid who, he's kind of just reaching that age where he's slowly losing his, you could say his faith, but his belief and his spirit in, you know, the holidays. He's starting to go from kid to preteen, and he's being influenced by the real life scenarios of everything. And at night, this express train pops up in his front yard, conducted by Tom Hanks' character, the conductor. I like how nobody has names in this film either. It was a really smart decision. You do get one kid in here named Billy, but other than that, everybody's pretty much nameless. The little kid, they call him Hero Kid in the credits and all that. But anyways, he boards this train, and this train is heading to the North Pole, and on his trip there, as well as when he gets to the North Pole, basically a bunch of magic situations begin to happen, and his faith and Christmas spirit is restored. Like I said, visually, this film is like a roller coaster, and this film is literally made of magic, in my opinion. I came across this review on it on Letterboxd. Shout out to this guy named Harry Ridgway. If you're watching this video, shouting out your review on this film. In paraphrase, because I didn't write it down, but he basically says something along the lines of, if I ever lose my Christmas spirit, I know the quintessential feel of Christmas is bottled up inside this gem. And that's exactly what it is, man. Like, it's the score done by I got his name down, Alan Silvestri, is absolutely fantastic. Now, after watching this, I did go look up the score, Alan Silvestri, because me, as much as I'm sure a lot of people have, the score is so similar to Elf, which came out a year before this film did, that it's ridiculous. And I was always wondering if it was the same guy who did it. It wasn't, but I did find that a lot of composers and a lot of film scorers do sometimes repeat their music throughout films. I heard that the theme from Predator and the theme from Back to the Future is pretty identical, which it is. But I've always heard the score the same between Elf and this. It's so similar, almost beat for beat. But that's a totally different subject. The score in this film specifically is absolutely beautiful. There's not, going back to the magic thing, there's not a lot of films that I can remember, especially from my childhood, and this was more of my teen years, not really my childhood, but there's not a lot of films that put you in such an ease and comfort during the Christmas season and look and sound, but more so feel like Christmas. This is why I say this is the staple Christmas Eve film. There's a scene right at the beginning of the film where the kid is pretending to be asleep, and his parents come into the room and they're whispering because they don't want to wake him up. And the mom is saying like this might be his last Christmas, Christmas spirit wise, like believing in Santa Claus, and the magic might be gone next year. And the way they whisper and how the kid is trying to sleep, it just brings back that nostalgia and those memories in my head of being much younger and you know it captures the feeling. It captures the feeling so well, and a lot of aspects of this film with the music and the score and the shots just capture the feeling so well. I think a lot of it has to do with the motion capture because you see the characters mannerisms and facial expressions a lot more humanly, which is what Robert Zemeckis always goes for. So yeah, on this crucial year, the express train comes for him as well as some other kids who are at that cusp age of turning into preteens, and they board this train, and all of the train sequences are gorgeous. One of the biggest reasons why it would be cool to see in 3D or in IMAX because this movie feels like a roller coaster and always has. It gives you a tension, not quite an anxiety, but a positive tension, like a ride. The film throughout the whole thing is like a ride. The characters are cool. Now, I won't argue with people who say that a lot of the characters can be annoying. One in particular is the know-it-all kid with the really nerdy voice. He certainly is believable, maybe exaggerated a little bit, obviously, but his character certainly is believable. All of them are. I like the little girl who befriends the main character, Hero Boy. They call her Hero Girl, I think. She's a sweet girl. And Billy, who comes on, the little shy kid who claims that Christmas never works for him. I think they form a good bond, a good believable bond of characters that really carry the story and the the mood forward because they're all kind of learning something as this film is also making its audience learn something. I mean, I almost could say that I learned something new every viewing of this film. It's just so great. It's too bad I don't think they have a 4K of it yet, but I'm sure one will be coming soon if they don't have it already, which I don't think they do. I'm like 99% sure they don't have a 4K for this yet. I like the whole thing with the ticket blowing away and just how they make that whole ticket into a scene of more wildness, more tension, more thrill ride kind of thing, just from a ticket. Like, it's so inventive how the wolves are kicking it around and then the eagle grabs it and soars into the sky and brings it to the little baby eagle, and the camera shots zooming through the air are, going along with the train are beautiful. And then the ticket rolls into a snowball, and then it's crunched up, and then the snowball makes it unravel itself. Obviously, it's far-fetched, but it's a freaking cartoon. Come on. And then it blows back into the train, and the kid finds it for the hero girl, who was all afraid of her losing her ticket. It's beautiful. I love when the main kid meets the hobo, or I always call him a drifter. And I like how he says he owns the train because he hops on and off anytime he wants, which is true. He just hops on the roof whenever he needs a ride anywhere. He's a ghost in the story. If you haven't seen this film, it says right on the title, this is a spoiler review, so I'm going to be spoiling everything. Great character, great voice acting again by Tom Hanks. And he really brings another element and another layer to that story of seeing is not always believing. Sometimes the things, like the conductor says, sometimes the things you can't see end up being the most real. Again, I'm paraphrasing. But the ghost, even when during that scene where they're in front of the train and the kid is almost about to fall off, but he's held back by the drifter ghost, and then the drifter ghost just winks at him and disappears. Again, it's kind of like the most important thing that's saving this kid's life in the moment is something that he can't see, something that people can claim is not real. They use the bell, Santa's bell from his sleigh at the end of the movie, which again is a perfect metaphor to believing, and only true believers can actually hear the bell. Just really, really cool scenes like that. Kind of a nitpick, but the scene in the train where they go into that part of the train where all the abandoned toys are at, I think visually, again, that looks cool, just like the entire film. But I wish they went a little bit further with a story involving that. Just an extra few minutes to explain like what they were going for, because it seems like they got into this part of the train. There's all these abandoned broken toys. They felt bad about it for like 30 seconds and then they kind of moved on. Yeah, you do have the puppet that's also voiced by Tom Hanks that kind of calls out the main character for not believing or being a non-believer. So it is doing something, but I just think they could have definitely, kept the message going in that scene for a little bit. But that's like a tiny, tiny nitpick. It's really dark when the conductor brings Hero Girl, or the little girl, to the back of the train for not having her ticket. And then the little know-it-all kid is like, he probably threw her out back. Yeah, they don't throw her out the side so they don't get stuck under the train. It's like, wow, bring in, it's just what you picture in your mind by a little kid being crushed underneath a train is just a little bit disturbing for a kids themed Christmas film. But going back to the top of the train with the drifter, this where they're skiing down the train is one of my favorite scenes, because the train is going at full speed and then the skier with the kid on his back is going at full speed, and then the kid ends up in the front of the train where everybody's loading the coal. Those are the other two characters that we're going to mention. They're engineers, I guess. The guy with the really long ginger goatee and his friend. And I was gonna say, I guess that could be another two characters that some people might find annoying, but I personally found them funny, especially when they're pulling the guy's goatee to let the caribou get out of the way so the train can keep going. By the way, realistically, there's no way in hell that this train would reach the North Pole on time, as the conductor kept on saying repeatedly that he's late over and over, and that they're like gonna miss the North Pole by half an hour. And the train is stopped twice by the little kid in it, and then the caribou scene, they're there for like, what, 5 minutes before they get the brilliant idea of pulling the guy's goatee and clearing the caribou. So yeah, there's no way this train is gonna make it. But hey, magic of Christmas, this is what this film is all about. So the whole frozen ice scene where the train is like slipping and sliding on the ice and then is trying to navigate to that track to boost onto the track again. Again, more tension and more magic of like the shots and the music and just the way they frame everything and build everything up. It's just so damn good. This film is just so damn good. There's that scene where they get to the North Pole and the kid and some kid that they never introduced. This group of elves are coming down singing "Oh Christmas Tree," I think, and the kid's like, "Elves." That's probably the most annoying kid scene in the film. Way more, in my opinion, than the know-it-all kid. The know-it-all kid was annoying, but that elves kid just is the cherry on the cake of annoyingness for sure. The North Pole looks great. I mean, the Santa's workshop is not a shop, it's a whole freaking city. And they got slides and things, and like everything is so technical. Another thing about this film, it doesn't really show like a period of when it takes place. It could be modern, it could be like 40s. It's never really set in stone, but a lot of the images feels between like the 1940s and the 1950s. With when the kid gets on at first and he's looking through that toy shop window and the Santa has the the gear behind him and he's kind of doing his robot thing. Another subtle little message towards, do you believe or not, or like losing your Christmas spirit because everything seems so modified and fake, basically. So I like that. But that Santa looked very 40s-ish. He's looking at a picture. Um, I forget what the picture said, but it was this kid like finding out the news or something like that. It looked like a model that would be in like a 1950s magazine or something like that. So I like that how they kind of stay vague with a time period, and they kind of stay vague with like characters' names and stuff like that. I thought that's the way to go for a film with this kind of mood and theme. Leaving things a little vague is the best to have the audience kind of figure things out for themselves a little bit. But all of the North Pole looks great. Again, the whole thing looks like a city. You have the caboose coming loose from the train and then going down the hills and spiraling all over the city. Again, great shots. The huge Christmas tree and the huge bag of toys. Like, I couldn't even imagine creating that or drawing that idea. Like, how they take like helicopters to close the bag around the presents. It's just beautiful. It's filled with imagination and Christmas spirit, like I said. I'm gonna be watching the fuck out of this on Christmas Eve when this video comes out. I swear, this is like 2 days before, but I already watched it fully, and I will be watching it again. Probably as you're watching this video, or when it gets published, for sure. I'll probably be watching this film as you watch this. But yeah, the giant bag of presents is great. Santa Claus is such a believable Santa Claus. His voice, Tom Hanks, again, praise to him. He sounds like the big man. He doesn't look like the big man, but in his CGI Santa form, he does. And he has that deep, like, powerful, but vibrant, but like kind voice. Like, he's not like threatening or anything. He has that kind voice, but it's powerful. It could like fill a room, kind of thing. And very believable Santa Claus. Like I said, the reindeer look great. The elves are cool too. Some of them, depending which one. Like, I can, again, it's not. If anybody's complaining about the elves are annoying or the elves sing too much, I'm not going to disagree, but it's not something that bothers me too much. I especially like when there's a shit ton of them and they're singing Santa Claus is Coming to Town in those really high-pitched voices. It just works. The sound design is so great that it works. It works perfectly. It's so good. I like how the nerdy know-it-all kid learns humility with the ticket. He says, "Hey, it says lean. Why does it say lean? What does that mean?" And then the conductor's like, I believe I printed 5 letters and it actually says learn." And when Santa confronts him too, he's like, "A little bit of humility would probably serve you well as well." And he's like, yeah. So he learns his lesson. The little girl is kind of, she's always taken on leadership and believing in herself, so she kind of learns to do that more often. Billy learns the greatest lesson, to not be pessimistic and not be expecting the worst during Christmas time. I love that scene. Again, very subtle, where he has the present in his hands and then the elf is trying to get it back from him to put it in the bag. And he says, like, "Trust me, it's in good hands," the elf says. And Billy trusts him, which he never would do before, because when he delivers that line in the back of the train, Christmas just doesn't seem to work out for me. You can see it in his face, how believable, and the voice acting too, how believable he sounds when he says it. It's so sad. By the way, I didn't know that the Spy Kids kid, Daryl Sabara, does the voice of the main kid, the hero kid, as a child. Because I was like, obviously, it wouldn't be Tom Hanks doing the child voice, so I looked it up, and it was the Spy Kids kid. So that's pretty interesting. And yeah, if I'm splitting the two halves of the film, I'd say the first 45 minutes are the best, because of the intensity and because of the journey there. And then it's not saying like I like the first half and then the second half is okay. I'm not saying that at all. It just definitely feels like there's two parts of this movie, and I enjoyed the trip there. And when they get there, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, but like you're experiencing it there, kind of thing. It loses the anticipation of everything. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. There's no more anticipation after the second half. Once you're there, and you're kind of just sitting in awe at everything. And there's no more excitement, but it's replaced with visual spectacularness, I guess. Sometimes I get lost with words, apologies. But hopefully you know what I mean. And it's gorgeous, like, that North Pole looks so friggin' good. There's just, I can't praise it enough. I can't praise the film enough. It's so good. It wraps up beautifully. Him with his sister, and then him and his sister can hear the bell ring, like I said, that Santa let him take. And I love how he loses it because he has the hole in his pocket, and then he ends up opening it unexpectedly in a little Christmas package that Santa said, better fix that hole in your pocket, and that he found the bell on his sleigh and returned it to him. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful film, and again, it gives you that comfort of that Christmas Eve. Like, to me, it's such more of an appropriate film for Christmas Eve than Christmas Day. Because Christmas Day, I guess that's what I kind of meant too with the whole beginning of the first half of the film versus second half of the film. Christmas Eve, you have that anticipation, you have that cool winter's starry night, and it's just a night that feels magical. And this is what this film captures. That's why I like that quote from that Letterboxd comment that I mentioned closer to the beginning of the video. It captures it like a capsule. It captures that essence of that quiet comfort. You know, that quiet comfort you get certain times by the atmosphere around you or whatever it may be. This is why ASMR is so popular. That quiet comfort. It's full of that quiet, magical comfort in this film. But I'm repeating myself now, so you get my point, hopefully. This film is absolutely awesome. It's 5 out of 5 for me. I really strongly recommend checking it out if you haven't seen it before. And if you haven't seen it in a long time, and if you only remember just thinking it was meh, give it another shot. Try giving it a shot if you can find it somewhere in a bigger screen with bigger sound, preferably in IMAX or 3D, like I intend to watch it sometime. And really give this film another chance, or a chance period, because this is something wonderful. And for sure, Robert Zemeckis' best animated feature, definitely. And I could go as far as saying his best film for sure. I'm going to leave this review off with my own personal magic story that happened to me when I was a kid. I can't explain it. It's so weird that it could have possibly been a dream. I'm not even going to say that it wasn't, but it definitely was a vivid one, if it was. I remember being like maybe 4, possibly 5, with my dad walking not too far from my where I grew up, my house. And it was night, and I remember it being Christmas Eve, but it might have been like the 22nd or the 23rd. But there's a store by my house, and then there's this kind of tower around it, and my dad just pointing to the sky, and I looked, and I saw what looked like Santa's sleigh and reindeer lit up and just going and then disappearing. I remember that vividly, and even my dad was like, whoa, and then I felt that magic. It's like I was proven that Santa Claus was real, and I was a kid too. And I saw it. I saw Santa Claus. You want to explain it? Explain it however you want, but I can't even explain it. It's just a memory that for some reason is in my head, and in my head very vividly. And in that moment, even recollecting on it now, the only way I could describe it really is magical. So, there is magic in the world sometimes, and this film is kind of proof of that. And no, seeing is not always believing. Sometimes faith is a lot stronger, and like the conductor says again, sometimes the most real things are the things you can't see. So remember that, folks, and go check out The Polar Express whenever you can, or check it out again, or go buy the damn thing, because this film is awesome. Merry Christmas Eve. I hope everybody has a good one. If you're seeing this some other time and it's not Christmas Eve or even close to Christmas, enjoy this video anyway. Watch this at Christmas coming. And subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice. If you like my film reviews, I'll be back with more soon. Check out what's on the channel, stay tuned for what's coming, and happy holidays to everybody, and until next time, take care and cheers.